Hantavirus on the high seas. What nurses need to know about the MV Hondius outbreak. Hey nurses, welcome back to Lunch Break for Nurses. Today we're going to talk about a story that is all over the news right now and has infection preventionists, public health officials, and frankly, everyone paying attention. Hantavirus. On a cruise ship in 2026. I know, grab your lunch because this one is wild. What in the world? So let's start with the basics. What exactly is going on? In April 2026, an outbreak of hantavirus was identified on the Dutch cruise ship MV Hondius. The ship left Ushuaia, Argentina on April 1, 2026, and was on an expedition itinerary through the South Atlantic. We're talking remote destinations: Antarctica, South Georgia, Nightingale Island, Tristan da Cunha, St. Helena. As of early May, 7 cases had been identified, 2 laboratory confirmed and 5 suspected, including 3 deaths, 1 critically ill patient, and 3 individuals with milder symptoms. Illness onset occurred between April 6th and April 28th and was characterized by fever, GI symptoms, rapid progression to pneumonia, acute respiratory distress syndrome, and shock. As of May 8th, there are 9 suspected cases, 6 confirmed, and the ship is still making its way toward the Canary Islands with additional medical resources on board. Infected passengers are currently hospitalized in South Africa, the Netherlands, Germany, St. Helena, and Switzerland. Now, here's what makes this case so notable, and why nurses specifically need to pay attention. This isn't just any hantavirus. This is the Andes strain. Hantavirus 101, the basics. Okay, let's back up for a quick refresher, because not everyone learned hantavirus in nursing school beyond rodents equals bad. Hantavirus is a zoonotic virus, meaning it primarily comes from animals, specifically rodents. There are nearly 40 strains of hantavirus found all over the world, and different strains cause different illnesses. The virus typically spreads through contact with rodents like rats and mice, usually by inhaling aerosolized particles from rodent urine, droppings, or saliva. Usually, the main concern is hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, or HPS. Early symptoms often resemble influenza: fever, fatigue, headaches, muscle aches, chills, nausea, dizziness. But in severe cases, symptoms escalate quickly into respiratory distress or organ failure, making early recognition and medical intervention absolutely critical. The incubation period is usually around 2 weeks, but it can range anywhere from 7 days up to 6 weeks. That wide window is clinically significant, and we're going to come back to that. From 1993 to 2023, the CDC detected 890 cases of hantavirus in the US, and 35% of those resulted in death. So this is not a virus you shrug off. The case fatality rate is high, the Andes virus, the one that's different. Here's where this outbreak gets really interesting from an infection prevention standpoint. The Andes strain is the only type of hantavirus that is known to spread from person to person. Every other hantavirus strain, you get it from a rodent or you don't get it. Andes is different. The Andes strain is endemic to South America, particularly Argentina and Chile. But unlike other strains, it can spread through respiratory droplets, created when someone coughs, sneezes, or talks. Person-to-person transmission causes only about 2 to 5% of all Andes virus cases. But before you panic, this isn't COVID or measles. So the human-to-human transmission is real, but it requires close, often sustained contact. Which brings me to the part nurses really need to hear: healthcare worker risk and infection control. This is the section of the episode I most want you to really listen to. Secondary infections among healthcare workers have been previously documented in healthcare facilities, though they remain rare. But rare doesn't mean impossible. And when you're caring for a critically ill patient on a ventilator with a severe pulmonary illness, your proximity is sustained, and your exposure potential is real. No effective antiviral treatment is currently available for hantavirus infection. Supportive care is the key to a better chance of survival. So if a patient ends up in your ICU, they're going to need ventilator management, fluid balance, and close monitoring. You need to be prepared. What does infection control look like for a suspected or confirmed Andes virus case? Droplet precautions and, of course, standard precautions, aka don't touch anything yucky. Given the uncertainty around respiratory transmission with the Andes strain, use an N95 with a suspected case until you talk to your infection prevention team. If you're working in an ED or triage setting, WHO advises active symptom surveillance. Remain vigilant for fever, respiratory symptoms, and GI symptoms, particularly in patients with recent travel to South America, especially Argentina or Chile. That travel history question is everything right now. And here's the clinical nightmare. The incubation period ranges from 7 days to 6 weeks. So someone boards a ship feeling perfectly fine, and a week or two later, they're in respiratory failure. By the time you know what you're dealing with, days of exposure have already happened, both before the diagnosis and during that close-quarter ship environment. Is this another pandemic? I know what you're thinking, and every patient who's going to walk into your ED asking questions is going to ask the same thing. Is this the next COVID? The short answer is no, and here's why. All the experts say this situation is not similar to COVID, both due to the type of virus involved and ongoing containment efforts. The overall public health risk remains low. Andes virus does not spread efficiently. It requires close, sustained exposure. It doesn't have the airborne transmissibility that made COVID so explosive. There's no evidence of community spread beyond close contacts in any of the documented outbreaks. That said, nurses, you know better than anyone that low risk is not no risk. And the fact that this virus moved through a cruise ship environment, potentially via human-to-human transmission, in a way that's described as novel, means we keep watching. What you need to know. Okay, let's close with your practical takeaways. These are the things you bring back to your unit after this episode. Number 1, travel history is always your friend. Any patient presenting with febrile respiratory illness who has recently traveled to Argentina, Chile, or Patagonia, that is an immediate flag. Ask about rodent exposure. Ask about rural or wilderness activities. Number 2, know the progression. Hantavirus HPS can look like a flu for a few days and then crash hard into ARDS. Severe cases rapidly deteriorate and can become life-threatening. Early ICU involvement is appropriate. Number 3, as I said before, use your N95 until speaking with your infection prevention team. Number 4, no antivirals. There is no effective antiviral treatment. Supportive care is key. Manage oxygenation, fluids, and hemodynamics aggressively. These patients need your expertise and vigilance. The PPE will protect you. Number 5, educate your patients. The public is going to be scared. You are the credible voice in the room. Be ready to explain that this is not COVID, the risk to the average person is low, and the outbreak is being managed with international coordination. Remember that in these novel situations, information can change quickly. It's not that people are lying, we just learn more as these outbreaks progress, so stay informed. We went from cruise ships to Patagonian rodents to ICU management, and I hope you feel better equipped for whatever comes through those doors. If you found this episode helpful, share it with a colleague, leave us a review, and subscribe to the Nurse at Work Substack for more deep dives just like this one.